History of Spain. Spain is a country with significant historical roots in Europe. Its well-known identity and extraordinary quirks have been produced by a beautiful collection of marvels, like the revelation of the Americas and its impartial situation during the two worst world wars. Simultaneously, however, there are solid balances between Spanish history and the historical backdrop of other European nations. Even though that it never denied its variety, Spain emerged as a brought-together state at a beginning phase and assumed an important part in the absolute most amazing scenes in current European history. Spain has been liable to land and sea intrusions during that time from a diverse set of cultures including the Phoenicians, Greeks, Iberians, Celts, Romans, Muslims, and Visigoths who left some characteristic of effect on this land referred to by its residents as España. In the 15th and 16th early centuries, Spain was the prevailing power of Europe and the Western Hemisphere. Its censuses of the time show that the focal zone, which incorporates Madrid, was substantially more significant than the fringe regions near the sea and along the French border. Spain is known as the country of countries in the world. In old times, the Iberian Peninsula was combined by a group whose ancestors are most likely the Basques. Celtic clans crossed the Pyrenees about the center of the principal 1,000 years BC and settled. Spain's story is one of Europe's excellent legends. It accepts the incredible battles among Muslims and Christians of the Middle Ages, one of the world's greatest ever empires, and, in the 20th century, civil war, autocracy, and a staggering comeback to democracy. As you explore and travel around the country, it's superbly easy to connect with Spain's entrancing past through its untold, well-protected landmarks and historical places and phenomenal museums. Timeline of History of Spain. The major historical events which occurred in Spain included periods when the entire country was a world majestic power transforming Europe, Africa, and the Americas, and when it was a hotbed of progressive enthusiasm that brought it near breaking down. The primary human tenets of the Iberian Peninsula, where Spain lies, showed up by at least 1.2 million years prior, and Spain was occupied constantly since then. Spain has been shaped and changed by its various proprietors, Visigoths, Christians, Muslims, England, and France among others, and be both a magnificent power across the world and a country helpless before its attacking neighbors. The following are the significant and crucial moments in the historical timeline of Spain that performed an important role in discovering the solid and powerful democracy it is today. 206–218 BC, Second Punic War in Spain. As the Romans battled the Carthaginians during the Second Punic War, Spain turned into a field of war between the different sides, both helped by Spanish locals. After 211, the amazing General Scipio Africanus crusade, tossing Carthage out of Spain by 206 and starting hundreds of years of Roman occupation. This period bases on the subsequent Punic conflict in Spain. 241 BC, Carthage starts to conquer Spain. Defeated in the initial Punic War, Carthage, or if at least popular Carthaginians, directed their focus toward Spain. Carthage's ruler Hamilcar Barca, passed on 228 BC, started a mission of victory and settlement in Spain, building up capital for Carthage in Spain at Cartagena in 241 BC. After Barca kicked the bucket, Carthage was driven by Hamilcar's child-in-law, Hasdrubal, and when Hasdrubal passed on, after 7 years, in 221, Hamilcar's child Hannibal, 183–247 BC, proceeded with the war. 409–470 CE, Germanic people defeat Spain. With Roman control of Spain in disorder because of war, which at one point created a fleeting emperor of Spain, German crews the Sueves, Vandals, and Alans attacked. These were trailed by the Visigoths, who attacked first for the benefit of the head to implement his standard in 416, and soon thereafter to repress the Sueves. They settled and smashed the last supreme areas during the 470s, leaving the entire area under their influence. After the Visigoths were pushed out of Gaul in 507, Spain got home to a bound-together Visigothic empire, but one with next to no dynastic progression. 409–470 CE, Germanic people defeat Spain. In 711 CE, a Muslim power involved Berbers and Arabs assaulted Spain from North Africa, exploiting a near-moment breakdown of the Visigothic Empire. The purposes behind which history specialists actually discussed that it fell since it was in reverse, debate has been now solidly dismissed. Within a couple of years, the south and main center of Spain was Muslim-oriented, the north left over under Christian control, 961 to 976 C, peak of Umayyad power. Muslim Spain went under the controlling power of the Umayyad administration, who shifted from Spain after losing power in Syria and who governed first as emirs and afterward as caliphs until their downfall in 1031. The principle of Caliph al-Hakam from 961 to 976 was most likely the power of their potential both strategically and socially. Their capital was Córdoba. After 1030, when the caliphate was changed by various replacement states. 900-1250, the era of Reconquista. Christian powers from the north of the Iberian Peninsula, moved partially by religion and huge population demands, battled Muslim powers from the south and center, overcoming the Muslim states by the mid-13th century. After this, just Granada stayed in Muslim hands, the Reconquista at last being end when it comes in 1492. 1250 to 1479, Spain influenced by Aragon and Castile. The last period of the Reconquista saw three huge empires kick the Muslims almost out of Iberia: Portugal, Aragon, and Castile. The last pair currently controlled Spain, even though Navarre clung to independence in the north and Granada in the south. Castile was the biggest kingdom power in Spain. Aragon was an organization of multiple regions. They fought often against Muslim attackers and saw, frequently, enormous interior clash. 1479 to 1516, Ferdinand and Isabella unite Spain. Popular as the Catholic monarchs, Ferdinand of Aragon and Isabella of Castile get married in 1469. Both came to control in 1479, Isabella after a war. Although their job in joining Spain under one empire they consolidated Navarre and Granada into their properties has been minimizing later, so in any case, they joined the kingdoms of Aragon, Castile, and a few different areas under one ruler. 1520 to 1521, the revolt of the Comuneros. When Charles V prevailing to the Empire of Spain, he made steamed at delegating foreigners court to power while committing not to, setting tax needs, and setting off abroad to protect his promotion to the kingdom of the Holy Roman Empire. Urban areas rose up against him, discovering huge success from the outset, but after the revolution spread to the entire state and the honorability was undermined, the last gathered to defeat the Comuneros. 16th and 17th centuries, the Golden Age of Spain. A period of social harmony, incredible creative endeavor, and a spot as a politically influential state at the core of a world kingdom, the 16th and mid-17th century have been depicted as Spain's wonderful age, a time when tremendous goods streamed in from America and Spanish militaries were named as powerful. The plan of European politics was absolutely set by Spain, and the state helped bankroll the European conflicts battled by Charles V and Philip II as Spain shaped peace of their tremendous Habsburg kingdom, but the fortune from abroad caused expansion, and Castile continued failing. 1700 to 1714, War of the Spanish Succession. When Charles II passed on, he left the Kingdom of Spain to Duke Philip of Anjou, grandson of French ruler Louis XIV. Philip acknowledged, but he was not accepted by the Habsburgs, a group of the Old Lord who wished to hold Spain among their multiple possessions. The war was ended up by settlements in 1713 and 1714. Philip came into power, however, some areas of Spain's royal family were lost. Simultaneously, Philip moved to concentrate Spain into one unit. 1793 to 1808, Wars of the French Revolution. France, having executed their empire king in 1793, appropriated the response of Spain, who had helped the now dead ruler, by proclaiming war. A Spanish intrusion soon transformed into a French attack, and peace was announced between the two countries. This was firmly followed by Spain aligning with France against England, and an on-off-on war followed. England cut Spain off from their kingdom, trade domains, and the Spanish economy was badly affected. 1808 to 1813, War against Napoleon. In 1807, Franco-Spanish powers took Portugal. However, Spanish soldiers stayed in Spain, as well as expanded in number. At the point when the king resigned for his child Ferdinand and afterward adjusted his perspective, the French monarch Napoleon was gotten to intercede. He just gave the empire to his sibling Joseph, a critical miscalculation. Some regions of Spain ascended in rebellion to the French, and a military war resulted. 1820, Riego Rebellion. A general named Riego, getting ready to lead his military to America on the side of the Spanish provinces, revolted and established the Constitution of 1812. Ferdinand had dismissed the Constitution at that point, but after the general moved to squash Riego even revolted, Ferdinand announced, "Liberals, now consolidated to change the country." Be that as it may, there was outfitted resistance, including the production of a rule for Ferdinand in Catalonia, and in 1823 French powers entered to re-establish Ferdinand to full power. They won a simple triumph and Riego was established. 1833 to 1839, First Carlist War. When ruler Ferdinand died in 1833, his pronounced replacement was a 3-year-old young girl, Queen Isabella II. The last king's brother, Don Carlos, contested both the progression and the realistic approval of 1830 that permitted her the seat. Civil war followed between his powers, the Carlists, and those faithful to Queen Isabella II. The Carlists were powerful in the Basque locale and Aragon, and soon their war transformed into a battle against liberalism. 1834 to 1868, government formed by pronunciamientos. In the wake of the First Carlist War, Spanish politics broke between two principal groups, the moderates and the progressives. On various events during this period, the politicians requested that the commanders eliminate the current government and introduce them in power. The officers, leaders of the Carlist War, did so in a move known as pronunciamientos. 1868, the renowned revolution. In September 1868, another pronunciamientos occurred when the commanders and government officials denied the kingdom during past systems took control. Queen Isabella was deposed, and a temporary government called the September Coalition was established. A newly made constitution was coming in 1869 with a new king, Amadeo of Savoy, was gotten into ruling power. 1873 to 1874, the First Republic and Restoration. Ruler Amadeo relinquished in 1873, confused that he was unable to shape a balanced government as the political parties inside Spain contended. The First Republic was broadcasted in his stead, but concerned military officials organized another pronunciamientos to, as they accepted, save the country from anarchy. They re-established Isabella II's son, Alfonso XII, to the power throne, with a new constitution followed. 1898, the Spanish-American War. The rest of Spain's American kingdom, Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines were defeated in this war with the United States, who were going about as partners to Cuban separatists. The misfortune got known as just the disaster, and delivered debate within Spain regarding why they were losing an empire while other European states were developing theirs. 1923 to 1930, Rivera dictatorship. With the military going to be the vision of a government investigation into their disappointments in Morocco, and with the king baffled by a progression of dividing governments, General Primo de Rivera organized an overthrow. The ruler acknowledged him as a dictator. Rivera was upheld by well-known people who feared a potential Bolshevik uprising. 1931, formation of the Second Republic. With Rivera fired, the military officials could scarcely keep ruling power, and in 1931 an uprising devoted to breaking the government happened. Rather than face civil war, King Alfonso XII escaped the country, and an alliance, temporary government announced the Second Republic. The primary real democracy in Spanish history, the Republic passed effective reforms, including women's rights to cast a vote and disconnection of church and state. 1936 to 1939, the Spanish Civil War. General elections in 1936 exposed a Spain separated, politically and geographically, between the left and the right movements. As pressures took steps to transform into conflict, there were calls from the right for military power. One happened on July 17 after the death of a conservative chief made the military ascent, but the coup flopped as unconstrained. Opposition from Republicans and liberals countered the army. The outcome was a grisly civil war that kept going 3 years. 1939 to 1975, Franco's dictatorship. The fallout of the Civil War saw Spain administered by an authoritarian and moderate dictatorship under General Franco. Opposition agendas were stifled through jail and execution, while the language of the Catalans and Basques was prohibited. Franco's Spain remained to a great extent impartial in World War II, permitting the system to survive until Franco's death in 1975. 1975 to 1978, returned to democracy. When Franco passed on in November 1975, he was won, as arranged by the government in 1969, by Juan Carlos, a beneficiary to the empty throne. The new ruler was focused on democracy and cautious exchange, just as the presence of an advanced society searching for independence permitted a referendum on political change, followed by another constitution which was affirmed by 88% in 1978. 1982 to 1989, Socialists got victory in elections. Communists under Felipe González won elections and remain in power until 1996. Free education, an extended welfare state, and the advancement of abortion laws are key approaches. Spain additionally joins NATO, and in 1986, Spain joins the European Economic Community, later to turn into the European Union. 2006 to 2010, Spanish economy enters recession for first time since 1993. Lieutenant Gen. José Mina Aguado, terminated as leader of armed force, retained powers after proposing that the army may make a move in Catalonia if the areas gain a lot of self-sufficiency. After his extraordinary actions taken against innocent people, the Spanish economy enters a downturn for the first time since 1993. This was the huge economic downfall throughout the entire history of Spain, which pushes it back to decades. 2011 to 2013, formation of Mariano Rajoy government. A newly established government, controlled by Mariano Rajoy, came into power. Declare new round of starkness measures to cut the public budget by €16.5 billion, 14 billion pounds, and almost divide the public deficit from almost 8% of GDP in 2012. At that time, Spain's unemployment rate takes off to a new record of 27.2% of the labor force in the primary quarter. Economy registers 0.1% development in July-September, officially lifting it out of the downturn. Facts about Spain. You must have thought of Spain as a country all about siestas, sand, and sun. However, Spain is much more than that. Spain is a diverse country in the southwest of Europe known for beautiful beaches, amazing cities, ski slopes, fun festivals, and great food. It is an extraordinary holiday destination that has everything a vacationer is looking for, from warm seashores and recreation to chronicled landmarks and workmanship. If you are thinking to visit Spain, here are a few facts about the country that might help you know if you are making the right decision or not. Spain is European Union's second largest country. If you include Canary, it measures about 506,000 square kilometers. Spanish is the second most widely spoken language in the world. There are 440 million native Spanish speakers in the world on average. Spanish is a constitutional monarchy. Spain boasts 47 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. The famous La Tomatina festival held in August is one of the widely known festivals around the world celebrated in Spain. The festival has a number of visitors from around the world every year. Spain was not a part of the First or Second World War. Spain is full of festivals. The famous San Fermin Festival is another widely celebrated festival of Spain. Spain is a hub of football. The discovery of chocolate and oranges was in Spain. The first modern novel was written in Spanish. The anthem of Spain does not have any words. Spain is known as the land of rabbits. Spain is the largest olives producer in the world. The cuisine of Spain is very famous. It also has the oldest restaurant. The New Year and Christmas in Spain are celebrated differently. They eat one grape with their family, with every strike of the clock. That makes 12 grapes altogether. Conclusion. Spain, a country that is situated in southwestern Europe, occupies around 85% of the Iberian Peninsula. It shares the peninsula with a small neighbor, Portugal. The country stretches south from the Pyrenees Mountains to the Strait of Gibraltar, that is basically the segregation between Africa and Spain. Spain is a celebrated nation of snow-capped mountains, stone castles, refined urban communities, and huge landmarks, all of which have made it a significant destination for traveling. The nation is topographically and culturally different. Its heartland is the Meseta, which is a wide central plateau half a mile above the level of the sea. Spain is an amazing country with bustling cities and fun festivals, and places that make it a wonderful tourist spot. However, Spain has an interesting history that shaped it into a place how it is widely known in present times. In this article, we will learn about the history of Spain and comprehend what made it a country that today gets the most tourists after the USA and France.